So the property was founded in 1905 by the Townsend family. So they were from the town of Woodstock in Oxfordshire in England. And then my grandfather came in 1973. My grandfather's background, he was actually a fighter in World War II in his early years, in his 20s. He flew Spitfires out of Europe, and he did a lot of drinking, and he sort of said one day that if he ever made it home alive, he'd become a winemaker. So this was sort of his retirement project. He came back to Australia in his late 20s. He studied at Roseworthy and became a winemaker, worked sort of all around South Australia for a lot of different wine businesses, and then settled here, bought this estate and built the winery. He started the Woodstock brand, which Dad took over in 1982, and they built it into a real thing. So it was just Dad. He built the restaurant, and with my mum in 1988, she was a big part of it as well. Probably couldn't have done a lot of the things he did without her. So that was the first winery restaurant in McLaren Vale back then. So it was quite a big step for them. It was a big risk, and it wasn't that fine dining sort of thing back then. But it was great. We had art exhibitions every Sunday, and they drew big crowds. So yeah, it was a really good vibe. And then obviously the weddings started, and now weddings at wineries are a big thing. We were a part of it when we were younger as well. We were always out in the vineyard, rubbing shoots or working in some sort of capacity, gathering firewood, that sort of thing. And then we used to actually, used to sell rocks, and they call it out here. We painted rocks and sold them. It was a bit of fun. Yeah. Anyway, so we've always sort of been around the place, been involved, helping out. I sort of started working in cellar when I was in my early 20s. Because I enjoyed wine and thinking, why not get into this as well? Because we do have a rich history, and it would be great to be a third-generation winemaker. We make our wine at a processing facility up in the Barossa, but we grow pretty much all of our fruit here. All of our single vineyard wine, all of our really good fruit comes from our 60 acres of property. Now we're just thinking of different sort of tourist experiences we can do when COVID's all finished. It's a tour around the vineyard, basically, maximum of 6 people, and we've got this old 1927 Chevy truck. Basically, we go around the vineyard and you taste a wine in the vineyard that it came from. It's hard because they're all good, and they're all good for different occasions. This time of year, because it's cold, and I like something with a bit of tannin and a bit of oak, so I definitely gravitate towards a Pilot's View Shiraz. And that wine has a lot of meaning behind it as well. That wine was dedicated to my grandpa when he passed away, made in a style he used to really enjoy. So, big, full-bodied, a good amount of oak influence, and really, really smooth tannin as well. So it's a perfect sort of winter companion. With the castle on the front, so that was a sort of original label, and that's what we're known for, and we like to keep that on our sort of main wines. And this is our companion range, so these wines are made pretty much to have with food, and they've got more of a story about them. So the first ones are octogenarian, so this is named after the vineyard, so 80-year-old Grenache vines, all grown on our estate just up the hill here. Montepulciano, we planted in 2010. We're still sort of figuring out what to do with this variety, but we figure it ripens really late, and it does really go well in sort of that darker style, but it has this sort of herbaceous varietal character that's similar to Cabernet, but maybe sort of a weird cousin of Cabernet. The one I was talking about before, a Pilot's View Shiraz, named after Doug Collett, and yeah, just a big full-bodied, heavy style of Shiraz. I do like the way McLaren Vale is going with producing more Mediterranean varieties, and I think that's a bigger draw card to the region. We do produce a lot of Shiraz, and it's delicious and it sells, but it'd be really cool for people to recognise McLaren Vale for doing other cool Mediterranean varieties. So we do a Montepulciano at the moment. We're about to plant Fiano as well, so 5 years down the track we'll have those two. I hope to explore with more Mediterranean varieties as they grow in popularity. So at our facility here at the moment, we just mature our fortified, so we do a lot of fortified winemaking. It was something my grandpa started back in the 70s when fortifieds were really big in Australia. So we've got a pretty large selection of fortified wines, which we're quite proud of. But I would like to start crushing more fruit here again. So that's another thing in our 5-year plan. We taste at the other wineries, and we do ask for help as well. That's a great thing about McLaren Vale is we don't see each other as competition. Anyone that's bringing anything to this region we see is a good thing. The Cube at Darrenberg, I thought that was a good idea because it brings people here. The people that can't get in there will come and visit other wineries. And next door, Beresford are building a brewery on top of the hill there, a microbrewery and a 200-seater restaurant. We see that as a great thing as well because it brings more people to our street and potentially more people to our winery here. So it's a really great culture we've got in McLaren Vale. It's a great thing to be a part of.